The imports shine as Perth Roo miss chances against Sydney. Australia submits EOI for the 2031 Asian Cup, and the Young Socceroos break a 12-year drought to qualify for the 2025 Under-20 World Cup. Welcome to the podcast with more clowns than an outing to Mount Smart Stadium. This is the Far Post Perth, presented by ID Athletic. Don't forget, there's still time to book your kits for 2025. Visit idathletic.com, and also Trio Homes. Of course, big thanks to Dino Julbic and the team. If you're looking to build, redesign or renovate, visit triohomes.com.au. Well, after a week off, we're back as sleep deprived as ever. Obviously, a newborn at our place at the moment, so sleep is not at a it is at a premium at the moment, boys. But with me and the voice that you just heard, James Renton, welcome back, mate. And also we've got Jaxon Bassett with us, mate. Welcome back.
Hello.
Boys, what's been happening? You guys have to be my eyes and ears on this one because, as I said, I've had a pretty busy time at home and I haven't seen much football at all. So, I guess...
Well, I think in the round that we've just had in the A-League men's, bar the Glory game, it was full of goals and full of entertainment. Some blowout scorelines, obviously, with Auckland probably being the big surprise, I think. I think most people would have expected maybe a bit of a tighter, grimier sort of contest, but I think, it was really impressive to see Auckland run away with it. And then, Western Sydney Wanderers, a team that's been very inconsistent, to go over to Mariners. And yes, obviously Mariners have been in a fairly poor run of form, to come away from there with a fairly impressive 4-0 win, including somewhat of a comedic error from Pavlicic in goal. I thought it was a fairly good performance from a team that should be in the top four. It was just obviously unfortunate for us as Glory fans that, despite seeing the excitement of Saturday, that unfortunately there were no goals. But either way, a very entertaining round of A-League football.
Keep that powder dry, James, because we will come back and have a bit of a closer look at the Glory performance and that result against Sydney on the weekend. Jaxon, I'll get you to kick us off with our good, our bad, and our ugly for this week, mate. What's been good?
I'll give credit to the Young Socceroos. I know you mentioned them off the top, but we have mentioned on this podcast about the A-League and youth development, and this is where it comes to fruition. This is where you really see it. You see the rewards come through, and very happy that they managed to get over the line against the Ruck. It was a bit uncertain. They did go behind twice, but showed a lot of grit and determination to come back, get the win, and now they've got a date with Japan in the semi-final of the Asian Cup, and obviously they're through to the Under-20 World Cup in Chile.
Is that Japan game's been played, hasn't it?
Tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Semi-finals tomorrow.
Okay, there you go.
And then final on Saturday if we can get to the big games.
Okay. So under-20s hopefully on their way to a bit of Asian Cup glory. So that'll be pretty awesome to see. And you've come out in your spew top, mate.
Yeah. Not sure. The new kit, I know, has got a lot of coverage, and people have been very strong in their opinions of it. The home one has grown on me. I didn't like it at first, but I think the picture that we put up on social media and just seeing how it looked when the Matildas actually played in it for the She Believes Cup.
Yep.
Fan of it. The away, I'm not so much. I think they could have gone a bit bolder with the patterns on the side. I was hoping they would do like the whole thing in that pattern. I think just the black itself is just a bit bland and dull. And I know with international football, there are some kits you can keep it nice and simple, and it looks really nice. But I think with the away kit, I would have liked us to be a bit more brave with the design.
Very cool. James, what's been good, mate?
I'll go with a bit of a different route, but I've been very impressed by the Newcastle Jets.
Yeah. Bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, and in particular, I think that's been driven by their Japanese signing, Kota Minsunuma. The impact that he is having on and off the pitch with, I think he's got a small fan club now at Jets games.
Yeah.
But just the way in which he's been with the team and how vocal he's been and how uplifting he's been, whether he's on the pitch or off the pitch, this is exactly what we want from our foreign players, especially those that are coming from a very high standard of playing in Japan. I'm pretty sure he played a fair amount of games for Yokohama.
Yep.
Very big club there. And, a big coup for a club like Newcastle to get a player like him. Seems to be enjoying his time there. And in terms of their results, obviously we all know that they've been a side that's been struggling, but for them to, in their last few games, have knocked off the likes of Melbourne Victory and Adelaide United, and obviously they beat Brisbane Roar, they're in with a unlikely, but they've still got a chance of making the finals should they get on a good run of form. But yeah, for me, it's like a smaller good story. They've been a side that's definitely impressed me the last few weeks.
Boys, I'm going to go a little bit self-indulgent. I'm going to head overseas. I'm going to go to Leeds United because, twice in the last 2 weeks, boys, we've come from behind to win with 5 points clear at the top, and we're ready to give your red scumbags a bit of stick next season, mate.
Well, that depends. We might be in the championship.
Hey?
We might be in the championship.
Well, you might be. Hopefully. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be terrible.
We'll just
chuck that in the ugly
like
section.
Ships in the night, mate. We'll go up and you'll can go down.
You'll join us straight back down there.
No, they've been outstanding at the moment. A big win against Sheffield United, so I had to put that as my good. Jackson, what's been bad?
It's funny that we've just been talking about it, but I've got Man United in the bad section.
Okay. They can stay there as far as I'm concerned, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's been horrendous for the whole of the season, not just under Amorim. I mean, we talked about Spurs and their struggles, but for United, and I know James might have some strong opinions on this, it's even worse. Look, when it comes to Amorim, he got put in a really tough situation playing this new system with players that obviously aren't equipped for it.
Sounds a bit familiar.
Yeah. But the record, I mean, in 15 league games, 4 wins, 8 losses, which is the same as Gary Neville had at Valencia in that horrid spell. I mean, it's very unlikely. Again, people who are saying the relegation stuff, and it's funny, but there's just no shot it's going to happen. I think Man United have got enough points on the board, enough far enough in front of the likes of Ipswich and Leicester.
Here come Leicester.
As much as it pains me to say it, they're not going down, boys.
Well, it depends. I mean, if the staff are not well nourished enough, because the club have now said that it's their policy that they're going to give like toasted sandwiches and soup for the whole staff.
The
at
cost
Carrington.
cutting is crazy when you consider
they're just going to sign a deal with Greggs, and it's just going to be
cost
just
cutting.
Steak bakes.
How the mighty have
50p
fallen.
steak bakes, mate.
Yeah, only sausage
at Old
rolls.
Trafford.
Cost cutting when you've got Mason Mount and Luke Shaw on big bucks on the sidelines.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, not a very well run club, and it's hard to see where things get better in the short term at least.
James, what's been bad?
Bring it back to Australia. Adelaide United's performance against Western United.
Yeah, okay. Of course, just to remind everyone, 3-0 result. That one.
3-0 loss. And their form has been pretty patchy. Last 5 games, 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses.
Well, we were just talking off air, weren't we? And we just said that I don't think any of us had Adelaide United very high.
No.
So, I mean, is this just levelling out? Are we all just football geniuses in the end?
No, I think they've obviously had potential under Carl Viet, and he's done a very good job with developing the youth there. But the question has been with them for some time, can they take that next step? Yeah. And while at times they have shown that they've got the potential to do that, I don't think they've demonstrated compelling enough evidence for it. Because when you look at their form against some of the teams that they've lost to or drawn to, their performances have been fairly average. And against Western United, they had 60% of the ball, but they did nothing with it.
Yeah.
Western United, on the other hand, were effective when they had possession and were able to cash in and keep a clean sheet. So if I am Carl Viet heading into this game against Auckland away from home, there'd definitely be a fair few alarm bells ringing.
I mean, those golden years, I'm terrible with the actual year it was, but when they had 50,000 at Adelaide.
15-16,
and they had you got the likes of Asias, in full flight, Sanchez, Sirio, and then you had these youngsters coming through as well. I mean, that was optimal Adelaide United. They probably haven't quite got that balance at the moment.
They probably need a bit more X factor.
Yeah. No, all good. I've put this as bad, but it's more of an unsure, and it's just around, obviously, and heaven forbid we go down this route again, but Auckland hosting the grand final. I'm not sure where this is going to sit. Obviously, don't get me wrong, I'm hugely in the camp that they should host it, should they make it and qualify, and all on merit and everything else like that. Does it move to Eden Park? Do they keep it at Mount Smart? Of course, Eden Park holds 50,000. Just the logistics around all this now puts a little bit of a spanner in the works. How does that fit in with the existing broadcast deal? It's a little bit I'm just a little bit unsure.
Well, is Eden Park in Auckland?
Yeah.
My geography is not 100%, but okay.
So Eden Park's where
Wellington had a few games as well.
The rugby union. Yeah, it's pretty much where the Wallabies go to die every Bledisloe Cup.
You'd want it to be, though, ideally at their home, because I think many Glory fans, when we had that grand
Yeah.
final against Sydney, would probably say, even though we still lost on penalties, if we had that at HBF Park, there would have been a different level of noise, a different level of atmosphere, and we've already been praising Auckland
And
till we're
this
blue in the
is-
face of their atmosphere.
I'm going a little bit off on a tangent. This is why, in a way, I've always been a fan of two-legged finals.
Oh,
So you get the bulk of both markets.
Don't know if that would work with the.
I'm
with our
fine.
comp.
I'm fine with that in the semis and all that, but I think as a grand final, standalone.
I don't know. I just like it. I think
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
think if you're going to milk it, and obviously you still get your, team who finishes highest can pick if they want the first leg or the second leg, so they
Yeah,
still
true.
get that kind of advantage.
But then again, if you finish sixth and you make it to the grand final, then you have the potential of hosting a grand final.
Well, you host one, but
Yeah.
you don't host.
Nah, of course. But I don't know. Maybe de-incentivize it a little bit.
Maybe. I
No,
don't know.
it's a discussion worth
I
having.
think it's got merit. That's all.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
Because they do it in the semi-final
Yeah.
phase now. Why not with the final? Why not just milk it? If you could
Get
get
more cash.
two finals fixtures with 50,000 each, that's a hell of a payday.
100%. And it looks good for the league, especially
Yeah.
when we've been talking about crowd numbers for
Yeah.
so long.
And it's something that only our code can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very nice. The idea of that is very nice. But going back to the original question
Yep.
about Eden Park and Mount Smart Stadium, I think you'd be a bit foolish to turn away 20,000 extra fans. I mean, I think
That is true.
the Optus Stadium Grand Final was amazing because there was 55,000 people there.
Not a fan.
You didn't like it?
Not a fan.
It didn't feel like,
Didn't feel like home.
no.
Take that atmosphere that we had of the Adelaide semi-final.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think we beat Sydney on that.
You didn't get anywhere near it on grand final day.
No.
It was a buzz. Don't get me wrong. It was great to be there. I'm not maybe two main reasons. A, it's not home. B, it's not a rectangular
and
stadium.
the
It's so far away.
The atmosphere, we were near the shed in that grand
Yeah.
final in 2019, but it sounds so much better at HBF than it does.
It's
obviously,
just
Optus, yeah.
there's something, yeah. And I reckon if you were to, move Melbourne Victory to the MCG out of Amy Park.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's when they moved to Marvel.
Yeah.
They-
Marvel.
Yeah,
For that. Yeah, it's crap.
Yeah, it's shit. So it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
ideal.
So that's a part of the reason why I don't like it.
I feel like Optus is actually not too bad for
It's
soccer.
better.
Better than MCG and Marvel.
It's
Nah.
better, but it's not ideal.
It's not football.
No, it's just not cricket either. Where were we up to? I was doing my.
Bad.
Sorry, no, I've just done my bad. So
Yep.
we're up to your ugly Jackson. Sorry,
Yeah.
that sleep deprivers Blayne is kicking
Put up
in
with
again.
you. I'll tell you who also might be feeling that is the Matildas at the moment because they were lethargic
Yep.
and
Stinking.
well below,
Yep.
especially against Japan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're looking ahead to the Asian Cup, which is a great opportunity for silverware for the first time in a long time. And Japan's probably going to be the team that's going to give us the biggest challenge, and to get beat that easily was a real disappointment, especially considering that was probably the strongest team the Matildas could have put out in that game. And then they followed up with a disappointing loss to America. I mean, slightly better, but still not good signs.
I quite like what Elise Kellon-Knight said. She said, well, first thing you need to get sorted is your coach. Like, what are you working towards?
Well,
what style are you playing?
So long.
Yeah.
Well, how long has it been now? Since the Olympics in August was
Yeah.
when? Yeah, so
Yeah.
Who are they wanting? Would be the question.
Well, it was Montemuro who was touted, wasn't it? But, Ellie Carpenter, because he plays under
Yeah.
Joe Montemuro at Olympic Lyonnais,
Lyon,
and said, as far as she's aware, he's got a contract at Lyon. So she was quite candid about that, which was good. But
They need to sort it out.
So are we just going to wait for Montemuro to be available then?
well, do you go for something? Do you give someone like Bev Priestman a bit of a lifeline? Obviously, she was in a bit of strife, but there's no.
Maybe an Australian coach, someone from the dub.
Do you go for Ante Juric?
I would have thought Ante,
Yeah.
given his
That's a good shout.
obviously Sydney FC aren't doing too well this season, but he's
Yep.
got a proven track record
Yeah,
of developing good players.
They need to get it sorted sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they can't linger on for much longer.
And dare I say it, but it's maybe time to just tap a couple on the shoulder and just ask them about their future in the green and gold.
Yep.
There's
That's fair.
a few. It's a real hard one, and we went through this with. I remember, and it turned into a really ugly saga with guys like Lucas Neal that just wanted to play for the national team, never got that tap on his shoulder, and when he wasn't playing up to his bench, up to his standard, he was just copping absolute daggers from the fans or so-called fans. And it's like, well, it's not his fault. If he's getting selected, he deserves to play. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to just say, look, maybe it's your career's run its race and it's time for some fresh blood, and there's probably a real gap that's showing there now.
Yeah.
As far as those games, I did keep up to date with that first one against Japan, and
Shocker.
I mean, Kyra Cooney-Cross and Mary Fowler were just kind of nowhere to be seen, and these are the types of players that have a number of caps in their belt now and really
play for big clubs also.
Yep,
Dallas been in great form for Man City in the Super League.
Yep, need to start stepping up. So, interesting times. Where are we going with
Ugly,
James?
Knicks
against
not
a fan
against Auckland, and just in general this season. I mean, obviously they definitely overperformed to extraordinary standards last season, but to have had the drop off that they have had this season, where their style of play, I know Giancarlo Italiano is all about, okay, we don't want to generate too many shots because we're more concerned about high quality chances. Yet even still, they're not really getting those chances. And there's so many times where Barbarouses just looks isolated and is having to win long ball after long ball because they're defending so deep. And in that derby, especially against Auckland, they just had no answers and would just open up really easily. And there were so many times where, even from a more fundamental point, Auckland's intensity was just 5-10 levels higher than Wellington's. And so if I'm Italiano, especially heading into Friday afternoon's game against Melbourne City, I'd be demanding a fairly heavy response because I think it's been some time since Wellington have had a margin against them that big, I think, from memory. Well, I think
especially against their home rivals as well.
Well, they've not won a derby this season, and to be embarrassed by obviously the rich club, they've got a rich owner, they've got big players and all that sort of thing, but you'd be expecting far more of a better performance in a big game in front of a big crowd.
Yep. Just to finish up, boys, my ugly, I'm going to throw some daggers at the APL.
Go ahead.
Nick Garcia exited the organisation earlier this week or late last week. If it wasn't for the media covering this, we would not know a single thing about the incomings, outgoings, workings of the Australian professional leagues. I had a bit of a search. There was not one single thing, not a line on the APL website or A-League website about the departure of Nick Garcia and Stephen Conroy taking over as executive chair now.
Like an Illuminati group.
It's like that. Like, just you can't just treat the fans and your stakeholders like absolute idiots. I mean, when are we going to learn this lesson? This is a lesson that's failed to be learnt by up-teen type of regimes across the years. You've got to be up and open. Nick Garcia wants to leave the organisation. Fair enough, leave the organisation, but let your fans know that he's leaving the organisation and what the structure looks like now. It's not hard to put a couple of lines together on your website and put out a press release.
But they've been so crap when it's come to transparency because that whole grand final decision just eroded so much trust. And that's the thing. It wasn't like we're going to consult the fans because they're emotional or whatever, but we're just going to, we're going to throw it out early in the morning and then we'll clean up any mess that's thereafter. But even still, we're seeing now with Garcia going out of nowhere almost. We wouldn't have known unless, first of all, Simon Hill did the tweet and then Joey Lynch and all the other media started to catch on. But really bad look for the APL.
Oh, it's just it's not hard to put out a couple of lines on a website and just say, hey, this is the situation. Nick's
here's our plan from here.
On. This is what's going to be going forward. Stephen Conroy is going to be looking after as commissioner of the A-Leagues and executive chair.
Yeah, maybe we should hark back to the good old days where we were under the FA's control, Football Australia.
I think that boat's sailed. I really think that ship has sailed unless the competition was really, really in a dire situation, like holding on by a thread, which it's been close to, don't get me wrong. I think it's a weight off the FA's shoulders that they don't have to deal with that competition.
I think it's more of a sense of be careful what you wish for, because I think the APL have come in and has it been as good as we've hoped?
I think there's been some good. There's been some mitigating circumstances. Don't get me wrong, but there's been some bloody terrible decisions.
They tried to do too much too quickly in COVID.
COVID, the keep up. I mean, that
grand final
was a disaster.
Yeah. But But you just need to let people know what's going on. Has there been a little bit of a resurgence this year? I think we can probably, Simon Hill put out a tweet today having a bit of a look at the crowd numbers, and I think they're okay. They're probably, you can probably walk away after previous years and going, yeah, well, all things
Especially after
considered,
last
they're not
season,
too bad. As we've mentioned, Auckland FC's done some really heavy lifting, 27,000 there.
We've had an uptick in our crowds.
Yep,
Despite
we've had a
being one of the
couple of
worst
good
in the
ones. Adelaide for me is they're the flagship. They constantly get 3/4 to full stadium every single time. And I've
Sounds and looks good.
I've been quite critical of the bigger clubs that haven't been getting it for all the noise that they make. Absolutely. They don't always get the backsides on the seats. So yeah, as I said, it was just a bit of a dagger at the APL. Boys, we're going to take a bit of a break. We're going to come back. We'll have a bit of a look at Perth Glory from the weekend. You're on the Far Post Perth podcast.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Tired of the same old cookie-cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service, and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
Welcome back to the Far Post Perth podcast, powered by ID Athletic and Trio Homes. Gentlemen, well, it was a fair build-up for this match on Saturday night. Of course, Perth taking on Sydney FC. I mean, going into it myself, I thought, well, Sydney's kind of been on a big hiatus for their Asian Champions League 2 fixture up to Bangkok. They got the win there. Have they put all their eggs in that basket? Are they going to come back thinking, well, this mob from Perth might be a bit easy. We'll just, stop in there on the way home and get the 3 points. But I thought Perth, all things considered, were pretty good.
I'm going to disagree.
You're going to disagree?
Yeah.
When I say pretty good, competitive, I mean, if you were to have a look at the head-to-head with Sydney FC, it's absolutely abysmal. I think it's like 10 wins for Perth, 16 draws and 34 wins for Sydney.
Yeah, but you're never going to get a better... It's a similar sort of parameters to the City game where we took on Melbourne City last week and they were missing a fair chunk of their very good players, and they were able to play better than us with their younger players. Sydney FC had a much younger team and less quality, you could say, that was there. They had a makeshift back line for this game, given that they had basically their best 11 against Bangkok. They played 120 minutes there in the Asian Champions League against Bangkok and humidity levels of over 80%. Yep. And a lot of the players played, the senior guys that played against Glory, played that full 120. I'm going to say no, it was not a good performance because this team is capable of a lot more.
Yeah.
And we should not be content, I believe, at this point of the season with a 0-0 draw against Sydney FC. I felt that we had a good 10-minute period from around about the 30th minute where we created some decent chances. But I think the fact that we weren't able to capitalise in the second half, to provide some context, we only created an XG of 0.04. Sydney FC grew into the game. And yes, obviously when you've got the luxury of Costa, Klamala and Wahim coming off the bench, that any club would want that. And clearly with our subs, we didn't have that sort of impact. But they finished the game far better than we did. And I think we need to be seeing far more progressive steps with the team, given it's capable of doing so. Otherwise, for me, then there needs to be a conversation in relation to the head coach at the end of the season if we don't make good enough steps moving forward.
Jackson.
From an attacking point of view, it was a little bit patchy. I mean, we started off quite strong, had a couple of early shots in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Then, as you said, that 10-minute period, between the 30th and the 40th, we were really good.
Yep.
Taggart had that chance, which he spooned over the bar from Pennington's great ball over the top.
Yeah.
And even at the start of the second half, first 15 minutes was pretty good and the Glory had the momentum. But then, unsurprisingly, this is something that Sydney have done all season, is they start quite poorly. The first hour of their games, they don't really get into gear. And then in the final half hour is when they normally get on the front foot and have scored a large portion of their goals.
Yep.
So from that side, it wasn't too surprising. Defensively, thought we were very good. I think the Japanese fullbacks both were...
They were excellent.
Very, very solid. I think Murcher and even Mortakutis, I think he stood out.
His passing was very good.
Yeah. As far as the midfield goes, pretty happy with Amos. Speaking of debutants, Amos very solid on debut. Pennington good again. So I think you can see the players, you can see the structure. There is definitely quality in there. Just the front line at the moment is just still a bit all over the shop and can't get any consistency really.
Just back on the passing, what I did pick up on, just going back and having a bit of a look at the glance at some of the numbers there, was the pass accuracy was a lot higher than what we'd seen. We didn't get much of the ball at certain times, but we kept the ball a lot better on this occasion than we had previously.
Yeah, but we didn't do much with it though, for me, I would argue, because there's obviously the difference between having possession and then effective possession.
Yep.
We had effective possession for that period where we created those big chances. And we need to be getting to a point where we are creating more chances for our better players and getting the likes of Lockie Wales and Adam Taggart more involved in the game. We're not able to find them in space to isolate their opponent. Meanwhile, Sydney could do that loads of times. There were so many occasions where Joe Lolly was able to size up Yuto Misao and engage in 1v1. I did just want to mention a stat with regard to our attack, because Ben Smith brought this up when he was doing his wrap-up of David Drulich's press conference after the game. So I believe the numbers are accurate. In our last 8 games, Glory have created an XG of 8.67. So that as a per game average, that's just over 1.08. Adam Taggart accounts for 2.99 of that XG. The other thing I wanted to mention is that that 0-0 draw against Sydney FC was the 10th game out of 19 where Glory have failed to score a goal. I think we should be getting to a point now where we can create more chances consistently and score them. Last season, we were able to, we were conceding quite a lot on the other end, but we were still able to create far more chances, far more consistently and frequently in games. And we didn't exactly have many superstar players that were in that attack. We were still able to create and put teams under more pressure consistently, rather than just one period where we looked really good. Second half, I would have expected us to have put our foot on the throat against Sydney FC. They were tired. They would have had that accumulative load from the game in Bangkok, the flight, adjusting to Perth. We should have been on them far more aggressively. And again, I mentioned my previous point, we need to be taking far bigger steps because we're still winless in our last 6-7 games. So we need to, when's our next win going to come from? I need to see, personally, more consistency from the team, and I need to see far more defined principles with regard to the Red Bull model that at this point of the season we should be seeing in far more clarity and detail.
What we do have to give a little bit of praise for was obviously the clean sheet. Ollie Sale was pretty good, but the defence has maybe just started to get a little bit more cohesion.
Helps when you defend a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be too cynical and too negative.
Oh, you are.
Well, but I'll do it anyway. But the point is to provide some context.
Yeah.
We are defending a lot deeper.
Yeah. And
I must admit, our organisation in the first half in particular was fairly good. We made sure Sydney FC were very ineffective when they were able to get into those attacking areas. We dealt with them very well. Mortakutis was exceptional. Ollie Sale had a really good game, and I know he's copped a lot of crap from Glory fans over the years, but I thought he was outstanding against Sydney FC. But again, that context, we defended very deep, and I think we need to be getting to a point now where we can defend effectively higher up the pitch while still limiting the opposition to high value chances. That has to be a step that we take at some point soon, because it's good that we kept a clean sheet, but we're not getting any bang for our buck. We're still not scoring or creating enough. So, like I said, I want to see better steps moving forward. This team should be capable of doing that, given the quality that is there. And hopefully we can see that starting against Western Sydney Wanderers.
Boys, I wasn't there, but atmosphere and crowd, Jackson, how did we see it?
Yeah, not too bad. I just wanted to go back on the point you made about the defending a bit higher up, and I think this is where Adrian Labib not being there is a bit of a detriment because
I agree.
we've seen he's got the pace.
When's he due back? He's injured, isn't he? Still?
Yeah, knee, I think,
Yeah.
I think he's got the pace where you can let him be the last defender and run back. Whereas with Mortakudis, he was very good, but if you leave him isolated or Murchel isolated against like a Lolly or a Kamala, like they're going to get torn to shreds. So I think we've had to adapt a little bit with him being out.
But I think we just need to see more aggression because it took until I noticed it more prominently in the second half for Murchler to step up. And this is the thing with the press. It's like if one's going to go, then everyone's going to go. And there were so many times in the second half where Adam Taggart blasted Hiroki Ayoma for not being up with the press. Murchler, when he did step up, those were situations where our press looked really good. But there have been too many times this season where our press has been the attackers step up, the midfielders step up, and then the defenders are sort of a little bit hesitant, especially when Labib is not playing. So I just think we need a bit more belief in the system. And if we're going to concede, then you're going to concede. But we have to be uncompromising, I believe, at this point, given we have the quality and we have nothing to lose. We're not going to make finals. So we may as well just, die on our own sword, so to speak.
Miliosnic is a second striker, yes or no?
Better than Patrick Wood. I think he showed a bit more than what Wood's shown in the games that we've seen him in.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced.
Not convinced? No?
No.
Who would you rather see there? If they're going a stock standard 4-4-2, who do you want alongside Tags?
Bit of a rogue shout, but why not give Seb Despotovsky a chance?
Anasmo?
Anasmo...
It's probably ahead if we're going to go with the youngsters.
Yeah, but I'd try something else because I would like to see Anasmo off the left wing. Because that way Anasmo has time to generate the speed and build it up and then take on his defender. There have been so many times where, especially on the stage, when Anasmo would come on off the left wing.
I mean, do you even go Lockie Wales?
No, I still think Lockie's better in those wider positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having a bit more fluidity to move from those wider areas. But yeah, I would give Seb a go. Why not? Give more of the NPL guys a go. Maybe we might catch a few more of the eyes of the European clubs, and maybe we might get a few more transfer fees, perhaps.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Any final thoughts on that particular match, boys?
Oh, just another Adam Taggart stat for you. According to Footmob, was it 12 goals Glory have scored this season? Taggart 6 goals, 3 assists. 3 goals without Taggart being a contributor is really, really. There's no other word for it. It is absolute shit.
Yeah.
I do wonder as well.
Tell us what you really think, Jackson.
I also think when you compare this squad in attack to last year's, I mean, do we give last year? You had Kolakovsky and you had Dev Williams who was fit, and they scored 10, 11 goals between them, and you had Benny and Colucci. I think our attack's gotten worse, and also Taggart hasn't been able to bail us out. 20 goals last season of like the 45. So when you're missing guys who are going to score you 10 goals and help Taggart, and when Taggart's not scoring 20 goals himself, it does make it a little bit tougher. But I do think that we need to see other people step up.
Yeah.
I just think there's more that this team is capable of that we haven't seen, and we need to start seeing it soon.
Wanderers away this week. We won there last year.
You never
with
know.
Stadge. So can it be done again?
All about how we defend, really. If we can keep Wanderers, if Wanderers score 2 or 3, then we're done for, because we're just not going to be able to answer back. So, it's going to be a lot of onus is going to be on the defense, and hopefully we can nick a goal or 2.
I think it's all about our attack. I think our defense and our midfield, especially if Amos can replicate the performance that he put in, and you keep the Japanese guys in, I think it's about how we attack and how we are on the ball. Can we create more chances? Can we cause some doubt in that Western Sydney defence? Because for as much as Mariners were ineffective, Wanderers didn't necessarily defend so spectacularly, and they are gettable defensively, I feel. If we can put it into a bit of a, not a shootout, so to speak, but open the game up and look to use the speed of the likes of Taggart and Wales and Miller Usnich, and maybe even chuck an Asmo in for a bit more chaos. But I think, it's a game where it's not impossible. Especially with Nicholas Milanovic out because he's picked up too many yellow cards. And I think, if Glory can go in with a brave game plan and really commit to it, both with and without possession, why not?
Yep.
We might lose, we might win.
Yeah.
I just want to see a team that's going to go full throttle for 90 minutes rather than 10 or 15.
Tricky Sunday fixture, 2 p.m. We're looking forward to that. Before we move on, boys, go into a break and have a bit of a look ahead. The Perth Glory women, Jackson, how have you seen it?
Well, they had the week off.
Yeah. But obviously the win the week prior against Wellington.
Yeah, good win. Bit of reward for effort.
Yep.
Again, it's just I always felt very critical of the women. Just because I think there is a bit more potential there, and they just haven't been able to live up to it. There's been a few games where they've been the better side, but haven't been able to make it count. They're really good against Wellington. They hit the post and the bar like 3 or 4 times, and probably deserve to win on the balance of play. So really good that they're able to get the job done there. Still haven't got a clean sheet this season, which is a bit of a worry, and away from home has also been a real struggle. So
Got a good chance against the Jets.
yeah, hopefully. I mean, I thought against Canberra as well, and they
we should have
they balls that up. But you never know. That game's also been changed. The venue has been changed.
Yeah.
So who knows? That might work in our favour.
Yep. All right. We'll see how it all goes. Gents, we'll go to our next break. We'll come out the other side. We'll take a bit of a look ahead. We've got plenty of A-League, NPL Night Series, State League Night Series. There's a bit going on, so we'll go through that next. You're on the Far Post Perth podcast.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Tired of the same old cookie cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service, and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
Final part of the Far Post Perth podcast. Blayne Treadgold, James Renton and Jaxon Bassett. Boys, we'll have a look ahead to the A-League very shortly, but a bit going on locally. It's a good time. We've spoken about this in previous weeks. We spoke with Kalicia Sunwar, of course, about the NPL Night Series. I've had a little bit to do with it as well. So just to give everyone a bit of an update about where we are at, round 5 on the weekend saw Perth Glory beat Armidale 4-1 in Group A. Also in Group A, Fremantle City beat Bayswater City 3-0. That's a good win for Fremantle City. And Olympic Kingsway beat Balcatta 3-0. In Group B, Floriat went down 2-1 to Perth. Sorrento beat Western Knights 3-2. Good fixture that. And Stirling drew 2-2 with Perth Red Star. Bit of late drama in that one. So what it does mean, the way that it all sits, is we have the semi-finals happening this weekend. I believe, yes, that'll be about right. Sunday. Yep. Sunday the 2nd of March up there at Percy Doyle Reserve, Windy Hill as it's known. Olympic Kingsway will take on Stirling Macedonia at 5:30, and then at 7:30 will be Sorrento FC. Obviously, a big welcome back to them to the NPL. They'll take on Perth Glory, so a bit going on in the men's NPL at least.
And good to see the Glory doing well. Obviously, last season was particularly tough, almost getting relegated.
Yep.
But, a good opportunity for them to continue on some of the performances and results that they've got. Particularly how they did against Armidale. They seem to play fairly well. And, obviously be a little bit biased, but hopefully they can get the job done against Sorrento. But it should be a good game either way, all of them at Percy Doyle on Sunday.
NPL women, they are up to the third round, I believe, of their competition. They saw Perth Red Star beat Murdoch Uni Melville 5-0 at Inglewood Stadium. The Football West Academy, they went down 3-2 to Fremantle City in Group A. In Group B, Balcatta Etna, they beat Subiaco 2-0. And Perth SC, they beat a plucky UWA Netherlands, who went ahead twice UWA before Perth ended up rolling them a little bit later. So, that was it was a good match. I was lucky enough to be involved in that one down at Doreen Gardens, so it was very, very good. So that was the round 2 results. Round 3 this weekend. I guess the best thing for people to do would be just simply head over to the Football West site, and you can work out where all the fixtures are and work out your timings and everything else. Right, let's have a bit of a look at the A-League across the weekend, boys. I'll get some tips for this one. The A-League men's Friday night fixture, double header on a Friday night, so you could get home from work and maybe get home a little bit earlier and watch this one on. Wellington, Melbourne City. This has got to be a City win, boys, with the way that Wellington are going at the moment.
Yep.
No, I'm back in Wellington to bounce back. I think Italiano's going to get them fired up and they'll come out firing.
All right. Okay, and I'm definitely going City in that. I think that Wellington's a little bit on the nose at the moment. Bit of work to be done. The second Friday night fixture is Central Coast v Western United up there at Gosford. You said it, Jackson, off air, but Aloisi's got Western United humming at the moment.
Yeah, they're playing well. Bodic and Ibasuki up front is they're doing wonders. And
Dylan Leonard's one that's really impressed me. The 17-year-old
he's going to get
centre back.
He's got to be getting a good fee when he eventually gets sold on.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is only a good thing for Australian football.
Yep. No, totally agree. I think Western United's got that in the bag.
Yeah.
Away win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Auckland's, they're putting up the big marquee and delivering the circus, they reckon. So, I don't know. I thought that originally saw that headline. I thought, are they calling Adelaide a bunch of clowns? That's a bit harsh, isn't it? But Auckland v Adelaide Saturday first fixture. Jackson, who's your tip?
I think Auckland are going to win big.
Yep.
I think another 5-0. They're going to smash them. Yeah, I think Auckland,
the real deal.
I've got a feeling that they're going to come in and just dismantle the Reds.
I think it'll be tight. I think Adelaide will have a point to prove after what was a very disappointing game against Western, but I still think Auckland will have that. The crowd will give them that extra edge, and I just think they're playing some decent football, and I think, I think they'll be able to scrape through.
I'm going to pick a draw in that one.
That's fair.
And I don't know if that's just a little bit on hope and just to keep the league nice and interesting until the end of the season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So I don't think Adelaide's got enough in them to win it, but I think they can possibly walk away with a point and just keep Auckland maybe just looking over their shoulder just slightly. Brisbane, Melbourne victory. This has got victory written all over it, doesn't it?
Well, Raw, absolutely hapless.
Yep.
So, victory.
Yep. MacArthur v Sydney. This is an interesting one. Of course, no Germain now for MacArthur after that little furor.
Stuff the referees.
Another one of my predictions gone down the window. My golden boot pick just decides to throw his toys in the pram.
See you later, I'm off.
Yeah, he's done.
Sydney win this game.
Sydney win?
Got to be Sydney.
Jackson?
Yeah, Sydney.
Sydney, okay.
Sydney
And the last fixture, just the one on the Sunday, I believe, is the Wanderers v Perth, 2 p.m. Can Perth get something out of this, boys?
I'd love it, but I don't think so.
Prove me wrong. I'm desperate for it, but I think Wanderers will win this game.
I'm going to pick a draw. I'm going to say that they could probably do enough against Wanderers, who have been very, very inconsistent, to maybe just pinch a draw. I haven't been impressed with the Wanderers at all. I think I had them finishing top this year, the Wanderers. So.
I think their attack has been good, but defensively they've been pretty sketchy.
Yeah. Just not convinced at all.
But definitely a chance for glory. I mean, like, for as much as I have been negative and glass half empty, it's another winnable game, so to speak, because they should have Taggart's overdue a couple goals.
Yeah,
so just a goal, please. Just
a goal would be nice.
Well, it's been 2 now that we haven't seen any goals for the Glory. So, there you go. A-League women across the weekend. Central Coast v Wanderers on Friday. Saturday is Canberra v Melbourne City. Saturday is also Newcastle v Perth. You can catch that one on 10 Play Paramount Plus. That is happening at 1:30 our time here in the West. Saturday is also Western United Melbourne victory, I believe. I've written 2 Melbourne cities, but I think that second one's Melbourne victory. Wellington v Adelaide on the Sunday, and also Sydney v Brisbane. Boys, bold predictions, nonsense predictions, anything to look forward to?
If we get the win, it'll be because Adam Taggart found his 2023-24 pair of boots and drags the team up by the scruff of the neck to get the job done.
Jackson?
I've gone for the women. Do you remember a few years ago when Andy Keogh didn't score any goals and then he suddenly potted with like 4 against the Warriors?
For his birthday.
I think Megan Wynn, I think she's been really impressive without getting on the score sheet.
Yep.
I think something similar this weekend in line
that'd
for
be
her.
good.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be beauty. Boys, I haven't got anything. I'm just too tired to think of anything at the moment, so I'm gonna go home to bed.
A good night's sleep is a bold prediction for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home to bed, and I'll catch you boys next week. This has been the Far Post Perth podcast. We'll see you next Tuesday.